prepared, at least to kind of tell us what you learned, if you learned anything this weekend. So we're going to kind of go over, we're going to have everyone get up, come up to the front, one at a time. Tell us how many people you've talked to since the last class. Have the information you've gotten from those customer discovery interviews. Have you decided to change your business model canvas at all? And what's your plan for the next couple days? What's your plan for when you leave this class until the next class on Wednesday? So, who would like to go first?
Good evening, everyone.
Yes,
good evening. My name is Robert. You know, sometimes we tend to go off the lessons we have learned, but as per me, I talked to 7 clients, actual potential, because I didn't want to talk to my existing clients. I talked to people I don't know. So this was face to face. I had 7 sets of questions. The first, I'm just going through the questions quickly. The first question was, have you ever heard of Nurture Your Business loans? The second, out of the 7, all the 7 didn't actually know about Nurture Your Business. So it was a bit tug of war for me, but the moment I mentioned loans, they are interested in knowing what is next. The next question was, what would you say about loan as a startup capital for your business? Out of the 7, the 6, they told me that loan would be good to start up a business only if you are ready to pay back. So it was a positive feedback for me that I still have people who will get the Nurture Your Business loan. And then the third question was, would you pick a loan to start up a business now? The other one was, what would you say? Because I wanted them to have an open mind. So to ask them if they would pick, out of 7, 5 said they can pick loan to start up a business. Do you have, number 4 was, do you have any experience in business startup? Out of 7, only 1 had the experience in starting up a business, which was a bit sad for me. So it means that sad on a way that I have to make sure that I teach the other ones how to start up a business and to run a business using a loan. Number 5 was, what business would you venture in if you were to start one? Most of the people were into retail. Out of the 7, 3 were ladies. They wanted to sell fish, buy fish from Uganda, take it to DRC, then they come back with some other materials from that side. So that is the business they are starting. Though others would say if this one fails, they would start another business. So again, it was bad for me because we are entering into our customers. What we want for our customers is to do a business that can sustain them and keep their livelihood. So if they start this and it fails, and then they go into another one, the capital will be divided, and then eventually repayment will become a challenge. The other question is, would you ask for help in drafting business proposal and effective business management skills from me? The answers were positive, though others would say, yeah, a business, we are picking loans from you, why would we again keep on asking you for what? For business management skills. So I had to explain to them. What would be your expectation if you started your own business? So what they had so many various interesting expectations. That one person was working for someone, an organization. His expectation is if he starts his business and it goes well, he leaves his job and then improves the welfare of his family and also starts up another new business. So it was an interesting venture, asking the people questions. One, sometimes when you stop, others were just, the interviews were mostly taking 5 to 10 minutes with each of the 7 people I talked to. My target was 10, but I was able to achieve 7. Thank you. Thank you. I expect today to know more of the channels, how we can how I can increase this and also introduce it to my team members that they can go and interview more potential customers.
Hi people, my name is Eve. I interviewed 5 people. I am a seamstress. I tailor customized clothes and I tried to pretend like I am new here. So I was trying to ask people that I want someone to make for me a very good clothes. I'm going for a party. Where would you recommend me to go? Most of the answers that I got were kind of discouraging. It gave me a lot of sleepless nights actually after doing the interview because I was wondering how am I going to be a better tailor? How am I going to change the narrative about tailor? Someone told me that you can get someone who can make for you something good, but if you have little money, they will only, even if they have told you to come and pick your clothes, if someone who has more money comes, even if you had agreed on the price, they will leave your clothes and work on the other clothes. Even if you didn't bargain, but as long as you paid less and someone has come to give a better offer, they will leave your clothes. And one other question I was asking is that how long do you think it will take me to get my clothes done when it is tailored? The answer is infinitive. They tell you 2 months, maybe you may never get it. If you're lucky, you will get it. You might get it even after the function. So yeah, the answers really tortured me. So another thing I was asking them that why would you like making a tailored cloth than buying a cloth out there? Because it's time saving. You don't have to wait. Someone has sold you 1 month, there is already a cloth out there. But people want to be unique. They want to be unique, they want to stand out, especially the youth. They want to stand out, they want to be different from every other person. But the only challenge is that they may not get the exact design they want, or if they will get the exact design, it may take months to get it. Yeah, so if I've summarized how my experience went. So I've really been thinking a lot, how do I be a better tailor? Yeah, and I have gotten my answers. I just need to stand out and do and fulfill my words and be unique and maybe do some courses in fashion so that I am better. I don't give it a substandard product. Like I have not been thinking about it. I'm like, but now I just feel like I better go for a course so that I get more knowledge and I do the unique designs that people want, because the knowledge I have right now is basic. So I need to improve and do the unique designs that people want. Thank you.
Hello. Hi. My name is Sanjan. Over the weekend, I managed to talk to 10 people. 5 old clients, then 5 potential clients. And I was asking them a set of 5 questions. And the first question to them basically was just to know whether they have had an argument for the new clients. And some had, and then some, they're like, it was the first time they're hearing about us because it was through a recommendation. So our second question to them was where they buy their farm input from. And we got quite numerous answers. Others literally buy from their nearby shops. And then my colleague there, his name came up. To be agribusiness. Their name came up when this question was being asked. And some other, farming good shop here in town. And then my next question to them was, why do they consider purchasing inputs from those particular input stores? Others say convenience. To others, was because those shops are the nearest to them. And then I went ahead to ask them what they would consider while purchasing the particular inputs. This is where the biggest challenge came in. A lot of people were bringing aspects to do with quality, aspects to do with affordability, and then the extension support services. But then it was quite challenging because to those, the shop where they are buying from the small shops, they are bringing issues to do with non-viability of the seeds, probably because some of them are staying very long, and they are buying from big shops where someone is selling clothes, and then there's a small input shop within the same shop, so it's a little bit hard. But I went on to ask them how best they want to be served in case they were to buy their next input. One, they put forward the aspect of proper guidance, guiding them on what to do, what are the spray regimes, and all the necessary agronomic processes. Basically, that was their biggest concern, the after-sale support services. And then my last question today was regarding what they would want the input dealers to do different. For our case, the people that did not hear about us, they were telling us we need to go out there, be more visible, so that people can be able to see us. And then two, also do more of the after-sale services and kind of like that. So that's basically what I did with the 10 people I interviewed for the Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
Hello everyone. So over the weekend I was only able to talk to one person. Mostly because the week was supposed to interview a procurement guys, and they leave office on Saturdays, so weekends, family time, most of them are traveling. And I was able to get one. So the first question I asked is what they look for from a supplier. And the gentleman I asked told me they look for eligibility legally, and like you have to have some documentation. You have to have paid your taxes up to date. Then you have to be a registered company. And then I asked why they choose a registered company, and they told me it's because of accountability. They need someone that is going to account for everything. And then I asked the challenges they face with the suppliers, and then I was told some suppliers do not produce the items on time, and then others have a problem with maybe understanding the word involved, stuff like that, so they end up supplying different stuff, so they get the stuff wrong, like wrong stuff. And then I asked how they select their suppliers, supposing like have everything, all the other requirements, what else they choose, and then he told me they go for the price. They always go for the person with the lowest price. Yes. And then the last question I asked is if there's anything I should have asked that I didn't ask. And he told me I should have asked if we have a chance of surviving. Yes. And then he told me we have a chance of survival because we have the experience, different NGOs, very many of them. He actually said we've supplied to more than 5 NGOs, and that is an indicator that we have higher chances of survival in the industry. And then he also gave a bit of advice. For us to survive, we also have to do price depreciation. Like there are some NGOs that have a lot of money. Those ones there should be charged very high. And they are not surviving.
Which are surviving?
That's
Yeah. Hello?
So I interviewed 10 people. From the 10 people, I had interesting answers. I had a set of questions that I proposed to them during the time of the interview. So one is like, I asked them, like most of them, what do you know about urban stock kitchen gardening? Out of the 10 people, at least 5 of them said like yes, what the urban kitchen gardening. But there was one who said, but those things are for boys, not for us. And I'm like, okay. Because he used to see it on TV, like series. So he thought it was for those people, the white boys and not us. Then the other said, but I have my field, why should I go for urban farming? So those are some of the interesting questions that I answered that I got. Then the other question I posed was about since I got the answer of the food, so I asked between the urban garden and the food farming, what would you prefer? From there, seven of them say they'll go with the urban farming. One because they are renting, so they really don't have that space to do farming in the field. Most of their fields in the village, they have said, he's in Aya. For those who know Aya, they will say. Then the other was like, mine is in Rhinopin, so they could not frequently move to the field. That's why they prefer having some urban farming urban vegetables, so that they get the nutritious veggies from their compound. Then I also posed the question of, would you love to establish one demo, like on your compound, where you're renting? Out of that, the 6 said yes, then the 4 said no. The 4, one of them said, I'm a guy, why would I cook? That was the answer. He said, I'm a gentleman, so I can't cook. Cooking is for ladies. For him, he can go and do take her away. Then the other one said, me, I cannot manage because I don't have time. That one works at a bank, so he leaves early morning, comes back late, works from Monday to Saturday, so he doesn't have the time. So for those who say yes, I also posed the question that what vegetables would you love to grow? That's the thing I can do for you. Most of them say they love things that don't stress them, like collard, carrots. Then I asked them why. They were like, at least at the end of the day, you can do your vegetable salad. Pack in your container, go with it. Then for those who had at least their own homes, like the urban center, I posed them a question, would they adopt it? They said yes. Then at the end of the session, I realized I had a gap. I need to go back and do at least a course on compound design. Because most of them are telling me designs and I wasn't clicking some. So that is a gap. I realized I need to go back to compound design so that instead of the flowers, I'll use the same vegetable to design the garden.
Thank you.
Good evening, members.
Good evening.
Evening, Leo.
Oh, this is Lems. Yes, one of my products is seedlings, vegetable seedlings. Though there are other products, but my focus was more on the vegetable seedlings. I was able to talk to, I think, about eight farmers. By default, everyone is a farmer. So one of the first question I asked is, which crops have you ever grown? Because I know if each one of us has ever grown some groups. So they told me peanuts, cassava. Then I asked, but vegetables, which one is specifically? The first one was tomatoes, which was my interest. Now I asked them, did they buy the seedlings or they raise their seedlings themselves. Now from there, I had mixed answers. About 5 of them said they bought seedlings from town. There's a place where they sell seedlings in town. The remaining one said they tried to raise their seedlings. Now, I asked them, those ones that raised their own seedlings, I asked them, how easy was it to raise the seedlings? They told me they had serious challenges. The first time they did, actually some of them didn't even get a seedling. Even the seeds germinating was a problem. So they made losses and they got discouraged. Now the ones who bought seedlings from town, I asked them, how good were those seedlings? Most of them told me that the seedlings they bought actually were different from what they were told. Because at the point of buying the seedlings, they are told this is this variety, it's the hybrid, very high yielding. Then he bought enough, but when he went to transplant, only a few of them survived. Even the few that survived, their performance was very poor. So they got very discouraged. So they really wanted the hybrid seedlings, but the agro-input shops, they don't sell few seeds. Okay? So
We don't have that.
so some of them they want to establish their backyard gardens, which may only need like 20 seedlings, 50. But they unlike they cannot sell 20 seeds of a hybrid tomato.
whole 5 grams.
Yeah, so you have to buy the whole 5 grams, which is too much for them. Okay? So I asked them, so if you get a source where there is very good seedlings of good quality, would you still go into vegetable production? They said actually they would even go on that scale. So I said, actually, I am the right person that you should look at. So it was really very interesting. And there was one farmer who came to my farm. And when he saw the seedlings, he told me he's not actually in Uganda. Because these things he has never seen them in Uganda. So I told him, you actually right in Uganda. So he got convinced, and the next day, actually yesterday, he brought his friends to come and see the seedlings. But then there was one gap I realized. At first, my product, the seedlings, I was only selling them. But I realized there were some of them who are going farming for the first time. So they don't have, the technical knowledge of how to manage these seedlings in the main garden. So that means I have to now package something for them so that I take them through, even in the management in the main field, even at the point of marketing. Once the produce is ready, I should also be able to help them sell this product. So that's they give me business. It was interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
The name's of Hassan. I work with Library Tools. But for now, I'm going to discuss some issues. Okay, for me, I would say, to be honest, this honor they're looking at a bit product, but I've had customer feedback or customer challenges previous times, and it is one thing which has been as a stepping stone for me. One of the challenges I've been facing whenever I come with my products out is the consistency of supply. So actually, question what has been asked, because the local SMPs in Arua have that habit, like they bump into market all of a short while, they also start vanishing out. How they vanish out you will not know. But once a new product comes in, it all comes up in a very glowing way. So consistency is one attribute I've always been given on my product in the market. Secondly, people are always let me say, internet has spoiled most of us. People always want to see what's on social media and want the actuality. So the rate of research on product discovery is also one thing which has also given me a place that I see how best to satisfy customer wants. One challenge I've been facing in the brief course of my conversation is regular and consistency in supply. Like somebody you meet somebody today and wants a product, the first thing is saying like, no, I need mine the other way around. And when I'm unable, because what I mostly do is I make a product, a specific number of food products for a period of time, and then I whatever. So one challenge is failure to be always consistent in the market and having an on-running production is one thing which always goes me back. Even this morning, I took some shoes to a client and they're not fitting them. So the person is like, I need a shoe of my own product, of my own size, but the design which you have to. So those are some of the challenges I normally face as an individual, and I look forward to filling the gap within. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can give me a clap for stopping rain. Even when I'm on leave, my thoughts can stop. My interviews were focused on these things. One, on awareness about museum business. Two, interest in culture. Three, time allocation by clients to a museum. Fourth was inability inclusiveness, where I interviewed one blind person and one deaf person. Also, I went into the pricing aspect of it. And lastly, other services that could go along with museum business. I designed 8 questions. I interviewed 11 people. Today, Saturday, Sunday, I was under the weather. I was not feeling well because I overdid rain. I'm still suffering from some of the effects. Now, out of the 11, 5 have visited a museum. 6 have not. Out of the 6 who have not visited, 2 have never heard of a museum. My first question was, what do you like about your culture? The majority of them talked of the traditional dances. There was only one who talked about traditional foods. And one talked of behavior, our cultural behavior. Question number 2, when did you last visit a museum? Out of the 5 who visited, the range was between 2 and 8 years ago. That means automatically these ones have never even visited a museum. They are 2 years away. Question number 3. What interested you most when you visited a museum? 3 of them said the setup of the place was very cozy. And this happens to be the only 2 museums these people have been visiting. One, the National Museum in Chambogo, and then the Kasubi Tombs. He said, what the other said, the arrangement of the exhibitions. Then the blind in particular said the customer care which was given to them, where they were able to visualize what was in the museum, where they were able even to read on the braille what was in the museum and what these things were explaining. So that was what they said about. While the deaf were talking about the history of the NRA revolution. It was Museveni who impressed him most. What you think, the Bush and what they not. Question number 4. What was frustrating to them? 9 out of 11 said what frustrated them was there was nothing of their own culture in the museum. And these were Lobara. So there was nothing about the Lobara culture in the National Museum or in Kasubi Tombs. So I think frustrating them, that means nobody recognized them in this country. Question number 5. Did you go alone? All of them claimed they actually went with friends. When one of them said 8 years ago he was taken by his father, and though he did not understand most of those things, he was fascinated by some of the artifacts that were there. Question number 6. How much time would you give to visit a museum? It ranges from 1 hour to a full day. He said depending on their schedule for the day, but if they were near a museum, they would give them minimum 1 hour to visit the museum. Question number 7. Would you love to buy a souvenir? Now that one covers this aspect of other activities other than the exhibition where people go to view. We also come up with something, buy something for home. And all of them were willing to part of the money where they would take this. Others say they would take for keeps. Others say to show their children where they had been. Then, question number 8. How much will you pay the entrance? It ranges from 2,000 shillings to 30,000. Then they are ready to part with it. Particularly if they are going to stay for a full day, they will be willing to part with 30,000 shillings a day. Then I asked them, which artifacts would you love to be there to show that you people are also represented in the museum? They talked of the traditional music and dance instruments and costumes. 2 talked of the video of the cultural dances and songs. And 2 talked of the art gallery. If those things were in form of pictures or paintings, where they will be able to photograph and take them home. Now, there were 2 things I learned about disability inclusion. The blind one advised me to get what they call an e-braille, some computer program which can translate the braille system into ordinary words and ordinary words into braille, so that you can effectively communicate with them. For you, you type, they are reading it on as a braille. They will be able to read what you ordinarily write. It's called an e-braille. So we'll get that one, so that whatever they have not understood in the museum, they can go on the e-braille and be able to read from there, or even literature of other artifacts, or other artifacts on display. Then the sign language was demanded by the deaf. And what I learned from them is I've been ignoring them. Where my museum is, they are just next door. I've not been to them. They've never bothered to come to the museum. They did not know anything about the museum, and yet I knew eventually I would be needing their services. And that's what I learned. And another lesson which I also learned was visibility. The premises are hidden, no proper signpost directing my client where. And lastly, consistency. Many times, because of financial constraints, the office is the museum is not open, so it's only on demand. When someone moves there or has an appointment, that's when one can easily get the services. That has to be improved. What do I plan to do for next class? I must listen to what others are saying. For the next class, I'm going to learn from you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Isaac, and mine is basically solar, as you guys already know. Solar sizing and installation. So I asked a number of questions. I had like 7 questions, and I was able to interview around 5, I think, interview minutes. And out of those that I interviewed, through the questions that I asked them, my mode of kind of changed, and basically it was in the area of the customer segment, because initially my target, my assumptions were just looking at people in rural areas that don't have access to electricity, but I also realized some of the people I interviewed, they have the power, like they are connected to one vehicle, but sometimes because of the on and off power, they also want to install a solar system on their houses. So that is also one of the segments that I've realized. Then the other people are business people who own companies, and then also they have power issues, and they have this assumption that solar is only for small, you can't use it for bigger purposes, like if you have your energy need is so high. But then I was able to tell them that even if you have a bigger load, you can still be able to use solar. And then the other one is because environmentalists who are so passionate about global warming and issues of pollution, so they would prefer to use solar because they know it protects the environment. So what do you plan to do before the next class? I think I plan to interview a few more people, and then I see how going to the changes. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
Good evening, members. My name is Wagwood Nan. I work for Open Concept Limited. It was the pro input and sell of one more drugs. This weekend, we actually interviewed 5 customer segments, 2 smallholder farmers, 2 commercial farmers, 2 crop extension workers, 2 animal extension workers, and 1 agro-input dealer. So basically, they had 7 questions for them that this kept varying from each segment. But for the purpose of this idea, I'm going to pick commercial farmers, they do. Our first question to them was what are the most agro inputs we have ever bought. They mentioned for us things like soybean, beans, some hybrids, and others. Then we also tried asking them the challenges they have faced while acquiring these inputs. We were talking of high prices of hybrids, transport costs because they can buy bulky, transporting it to the field was very difficult for them. Then knowledge gap. They didn't know actually how to grow those things properly and so on. Also, I tried to ask them how they were trying to avoid such challenges, the solutions to the challenges. So they were like, they've been asking the input dealers to at least take from them those things they have built. And also they said they've been asking for discounts bargaining so that they get at least reduced prices. So they also seek private extension workers to give them knowledge. Then also our fourth question was about the recommendations, what they would recommend the input dealers to do on them. So we are talking of considering farmers' capacities, because some farmers are small holders, others are so they are commercial farmers, but the amount they have cannot purchase everything, so that if they will package on them those things, maybe things like pesticide, not only bringing those things of 1 liter, so should be balancing the other. Then they also recommend that where there are 10 commercial farmers, the input dealers should have put from them 1 agent so that they access those services. And also they were talking of knowledge, bridging the knowledge gap through radio talk shows, and also sending extension workers to them. Then our next question to them was to ask if there was chance, if they were given that chance to be an input dealer, what would they do? Or how different would they do things? So they were mentioning for me things like registering all the commercial farmers, giving them information, put agents everywhere, advertisement, branding, so many things. And that one really gave me a lot of challenges. Some of these things we have not been doing, but at least after the interview, the show was a little behind. I'm going to take some to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
We bulk grains and sell them to processing companies. Unfortunately, it's triggered us most of our clients were in that sector. I happened to interact with one person and I had a set of 7 questions. why did you choose to source your grains from West Nile? And he replied that in the past, West Nile has been known to produce the best quality when it comes to grains. That's why they were very interested in buying their grains from West Nile. And then, when was the last time you bought grains, and tell us about your experience? We asked this so I could know, like, if they have encountered any frustrations in their attempts to get grain from West Nile. Say they usually come during harvest season, which is from between November to March, and like I said, in the past, West Nile has been known to have the best quality grain, like clean grain. But this time around, when they came, it was not exactly the same as it was in the past. He had experiences where people collect sand and pour it in their produce so that it can weigh more. And he says there are some people who put their grain in water so that it gets heavier, like the maize, they put it in water. Soybeans, they put in water, then it becomes wet and weighs more, so they can get paid more money. And then I asked which specific crops or seeds, grains do they buy from this region? And then he mentioned soybeans, simsim, maize, chia seeds, and I don't know the name in English. Yeah, green grams, yes. So, that's what I said. They're buying grams. And then, what challenges they have encountered from their previous experience? He mentioned that. I asked how do you identify or determine your suppliers? He says most times the traders in town who call them when they have these grains. They call them to come and pick up. So they can come to pick up and they pay them from there. And then what challenges they have faced from their previous experience? Sometimes they call you to come and then you carry your whole truck, hoping that you're coming to collect a lot of grain. And then at the end of the day, you're going back with like 7 tons or 10 tons, which is very small volume, and then you waste your transport. And then I asked what 3 things, what are the top 3 things they would want to be done different if they are to come to purchase grain. He advised that he would appreciate if the traders worked together so that there's a better quantity of the grain when they come to collect. And also people should take the issue of quality more seriously instead of just trying to do manyanga business. And then the last question was, you consider contracting a certain business or company to supply you with grains, your interest, and you just work according to that contract. And the response was positive, and he said it would be making their work a lot more easier. Have I changed my business model canvas? Not yet, until I get to interview a few more people so that I can understand better if our business model will actually work. What do I plan to do better for our next class? I hope to interview a few more people and think about my business plan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. 303 here. My name is Franco Matata. I happened to only interview one person. You know, it's tough working somewhere and owning a business. So as the month ended, I had to make end of month reports on Saturday and yesterday so that I could submit them to me. So before coming here, I made sure at least one, of which I did.
And the person that I interviewed is the current second runner-up in the storage business, because I saw what we do for BNI. And the first question that I asked her was, have you ever desired to wear your own artwork, like that is locally made, maybe in West Nile? It was like, yeah, of course, even her name, like, she needed to have the crown or something, and so that she can boast that she's being the miss at something. Then I did ask her that if that would be something to identify herself as a West Niler, what would she wish to put on? Then she said, as we were identified mostly by leopard, so we'll have to have something which represents, which has leopard on a t-shirt or a jumper. Then I asked her again, have you ever seen any of the West Nile brands around? She said yes. What she has seen commonly worn around is I Love Arua, which is done by my brother Zorak, and Do One. And Do One is from us. Do One means everyone should do one thing for West Nile to grow. When I see you guys presenting things here and there, I know we are in the right direction. Thank you guys. And when I told her that we are the ones who make Do One, and I did explain to her that we will make several others, and I even showed pictures. And what she asked me was where we are located. And that showed that I'm not so much known, or the business is not so much known. And of which I explained, and she said she has ever been there and there's no sign to show we are there. And it's true, the signage, the business name, we have not put it up. Because mostly we have been doing this on online. People who follow me and mostly have been my potential clients. So I think from the interview, I think I've seen the positives and also the negatives. I feel maybe from that, and with more sessions here, I'll improve the business. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to head into customer channels now. We're going to be in this box today. So the boxes are starting to get a little smaller. So we went over two of the really important ones, the two most important ones, your value propositions this past Wednesday. Went through customer segments on Friday. And so now we're covering channels today. We'll be up here at customer relationships next time. And then on Friday, we're going to have the money talk. It's going to be these two bottom boxes. Okay. So what are channels? The customer channels are the way your product or service reaches your customer segments. So there are two different product types here. There's physical and there's virtual. So a physical product. What would a physical product be? A lot of you sell physical products. Yes, something you can something tangible, something you can touch. So shoes, seeds, stuff like that. Anything like actually in the real world. Virtual, that'd be what? Websites, apps, software, that sort of thing. So different. Those are the two different product types. You can divide it into those two. And so then you have different channel types based on the product types that you're going through. So either direct, indirect, or hybrid. A hybrid channel would be kind of a combination of a direct channel and indirect channel. So it has the best of both worlds. So here are some different types of channels that are of those different varieties. So I actually couldn't remember what OEM. I had to look this up this morning. It's where you take something that someone else manufactures and you sell it under your brand name. So that's a type of channel. Being an OEM retailer, so stores. That's a channel. That's how you get your product to people. That's probably the most obvious way to get your product to people. Distributor, so kind of the same sort of thing, but just adding that layer, that middleman layer. Especially for virtual, but also for physical things, websites and e-commerce. So, you know, if you're ordering things off the internet, that's the channel that someone is getting their product to you. Direct sales, so that kind of plays in a little bit to the store, but it's a little bit different. Aggregators, so that's something that's where you take a bunch of smaller websites that maybe people don't know about, and you can aggregate a lot of their products into one place. Or what happens, there's a couple examples of this in America where they aggregate deals. So like some of the travel websites like Expedia, hotels.com, those sort of things, where if a hotel has different prices on different services, that aggregator kind of shows you everything there. So those are different chains. Figuring out what channel you want to use really is up to whatever you're selling and whatever ends up working for you. So you pick it based on how you interface with your customers and the type of products you're selling. So if you're selling something virtual, having a physical store would be kind of silly. Same if you reverse it, where if you have something physical, yeah, you can have a website, you know, like Amazon, Alibaba, that makes sense. So figure out what type of product you're selling, what category it's in. That will tell you what type of channel you want to use. In your sales, you can either have direct sales or use a distributor. So determine which one of these you want to use, which pathway, depending on how much control you want over the product and over the chain of command here. So if you're using more direct sales, they're employees, so you're going to have more overhead, but you have a lot more control over whether or not your stuff is actually moving out the door. You can keep better track of things. If you want to use a distributor, you're going to have probably lower costs, but again, distributors sometimes are distributing your things, and they're distributing a competitor, and another competitor, and another competitor. So you have to decide, you know, do you want to essentially pay up front for having complete control over what you're doing, the more direct way, or do you want to just leave it to a distributor and then hope that the distributor loves your stuff the most and gets it out the door?
Hey Jay.
Yes.
What do you mean on the direct source? What do you mean risky if hired too fast?
So, because it is something that's higher cost, if you hire too fast and your costs are outweighing your income, that's risky. That's why sometimes if you're trying to expand really quickly, sometimes you go the distributor route more than you go the direct route, just so you can get your stuff out to more distributors. Because if you hire too fast, you're not bringing in the kind of income you want. You're just going to have to lay people off. So, does that make sense?
I wanted to give you an example. For example, as we work with seed companies, so a seed company can choose to have their own soaps across the country, and that would mean they have to employ sales agronomists, they have to employ extension officers, they have to pay rent themselves. So that can be risky for the seed company because of the overhead costs they have to incur directly by themselves. But by them working through us, who manage our own soaps as input dealers, the risk is less on them in terms of the overhead costs. So the seed companies in this case are using us as their distributors to sell. But the risk to them is if another seed company offers me the same price at a better price that gives me a better margin, they can easily be outcompeted. And our loyalty here is to the farmers. Our loyalty is not to the seed company. So that's a risk also for the seed company. Yeah.
So yeah, you just
and also I'm not their direct employee, so they can't force me to sell their seed to the farmer. Yeah.
So you just really have to decide whatever way you want to do this. Do you want to take on more of the risk? Do you want your distributor to do that, but at the same time your distributor's not as loyal? You have to find that where that balance is for you.
Yeah, because I was thinking, if you're doing direct sales, definitely you rely on your employees because they represent you to your clients.
Right.
So then I was thinking that maybe hiring first also means that hiring probably one competent. That also involve it, because what I was thinking, someone could do something faster and better. So I was thinking also another point could be maybe risk of hiring wrongly.
Yeah.
Because you could as well take time and you still did it wrongly. So you should have, I think, the right metrics. I think it's a risk of hiring wrongly.
Yeah, like now for us, actually we do direct sales as of mere business. If you see our shop maybe here in Arua, in Yumbe, in Ajumani, in Zombo, in Kampala, those are all costs directly on us as a mere business. The employees were the ones paying them directly, all ourselves. So first of all, there's a huge risk of meeting all these overhead costs, because like us, we spend between 24 to 30 million every month just to remain operational. Yeah, but what you're saying is also true, that in the process of hiring people, because your sales are driven entirely by the team that you hire. So if you hire wrongly, of course, yeah, it will affect the metrics, it will affect the sales, it will affect the number of farmers reached. Yeah.
I know that's a discussion we've had, that it's like everyone hires badly.
Me, I would go in for what Mr. Razak has said. When direct sales employees, they become in such a way that if your rate of hiring is high, like almost every week you are hiring a new employee. One, the risk is that these new employees will not have substantial information or knowledge about your products, and then that becomes a detriment to your business. Two, your customers will even lose trust in you, because they will know that this company we are dealing with is not actually a company that we can trust. Because if every time the turnover of employees is so high, sometimes we do believe you can employ people wrongly, but still you have the best results when it comes to that. Like what Paul Babbitt said, snakes in suits, psychopaths. You can have them; they make for you the money, but at the end of the day, you actually don't go anywhere. But you see the success when it's not there. But the higher, the more you have, if the employee turnover is so high, the business may even go down to the drain.
Going back to what we were talking about the first half of the class, customer discovery. This is something you want to make part of your customer discovery. So, as you're going out in the next couple of days, so that you can report back on Wednesday what you've learned, especially for those of you who have gotten 8 to 10 interviews already, now's the time you can start kind of switching out some of the questions if you want. If you've already learned what you're going to learn from some of your questions, you can start figuring out channels. You can start asking people, if you're not already, how do you buy products like ours? They may not know, some of the technical jargon, but they may say, oh, I go down to such and such a store, or I use this website. So you can kind of figure out how they're buying products in what venues, how they're learning about new or improved products, and what the deciding factor is in using whatever service or channel or system that they're using. Is it just because they stumbled upon a website at some point and like, well, I like, it's green and I like the color green, so here we are. Or you go, it's the store is 2 blocks from where I live. I don't want to walk any further, so here it is. So you could find out some really interesting stuff. You don't have to ask these exact things, but figuring out where people are buying things, why they're buying them where they are, is a good thing to do during customer. Now's the time where you can partner up, you can talk to people next to you, talk about your product or your service. What are you selling? What channel or channels are you going to use, or are you currently using to sell your product? And do you sell directly? Do you sell through a distributor? Do you do both? Why? So let's, for about 5 minutes, talk amongst yourselves, and then we're going to kind of go around and answer these questions. So we've got about 5 minutes.
Our product, this is Remote Global Solutions. We have a product called Nurture and Incubate Business Loans for the youth and widows, or what some call single mothers. The channel, we use a direct channel through our employees. We have a number of, if we now carry all, we have a number of 15 employees. Why do we now choose that direct channel to deal with our customers? We are dealing with money in this scenario, and because the product is Nurture and Incubate, it means that we have to move to these our clients. We, after sourcing them out, getting the clients, we have to build a business with them. So we cannot build a business through maybe a distributor, because a distributor also need his or her percentage. So what we do, we meet one-on-one with our clients to see what their business is doing, how they move through their business processes and the management at large. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I Goben Emmanuel. Business is Lion Events. We have, it's both a service and product deliverer. The product bits came in data. First of all, we only knew about going out to decorate, handle events and such. And we discovered with time there are people, or I would say competitors or people in the same business that have their deals, their work to do, but they don't have the exact equipment. So we started hiring out part of our equipment to them. So even if we are not the ones handling your events, we still make some money from hiring out equipment to the other people. So it was a win-win. The channels we use is mostly direct because we have to deliver, or they come and pick the products from our display shop. We have a display shop, and this being a service, most times at a certain time T, we may start interactions online or virtually, but before delivery we usually interact with the customer face to face, or their representatives face to face first. So it's more of a direct interaction. Looking at how we are going to sell here, we have agents, but gradually you have to make contacts. You have to talk, you plan, you reorganize until you do the delivery. So we don't have like agents and places. We have a direct interaction. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Stanley is my name. Business type we have is we're dealing both service and products. Service. Anyway, products. For now, let me do products. My business, we have both pharmaceuticals. The sale of retail sale of drugs and then laboratory. The channel, all the channels that we use in order to sell our products is usually the direct one. Why we, anyway, I think that leads me to the third. Do not want to take long.
Yeah.
Why we chose the direct channel of using a distributor is because when a client comes to me, or when a patient comes to me, I'm able to get the confidence of the clients or the patients, I'm able to examine physically, and that makes me to directly interact with them. I think that explains why I use the direct channel.
Nice work.
Our product is a physical one. And then the channel we use is a direct channel. The reason we do that is because, first of all, we are a small company. Then secondly, we are also acquiring items. Distributors that are not registered, so that we can supply those that require registration.
My name is Eve. My product is physical. the channel we are using is direct. We are not using distributors because the reason we came in market is because distributors are supplying similar kind of clothing, and we are coming to challenge that for people to do their unique designs. So we can't again get a distributor because they will still produce the same thing that we are trying to avoid. So that's why we do direct sales, so that we can also know what a client exactly wants. Yeah.
Very nice.
Good evening, everyone. Here, I from Cricket. Our service, okay, it's a service, and it's about availing information about and delivering on-demand goods. You guys already know on-demand goods, which are food, fruits, vegetables, as well as healthcare products. The channels we intend to use, actually we're using mobile apps, web portal, delivery agents. Our delivery agents, when they get to a person who doesn't know about cricket, then they tell him. And referrals. By referrals, I mean we tend to give you good service so that you yourself you can refer us to someone else. It can be a channel in one way or the other. And by saying so, I will be happy to see most of you download the app and start using it. And then finally, why we choose, okay, we are choosing to do it directly because we are dealing with the final consumers, and actually the value we are adding is about the time saving and the convenience. So at the end of it, we have directly deal with our clients and customers. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Thomas Kagame. I'm standing in for Furaha Loans. Furaha Loans is a service, and we use a direct channel with the dream of going hybrid, and we sell directly through our capable team. Call them employees sometimes. Use them what you like. Reason why we do that is because one, we are obsessed about our customers. We love keeping a relationship with them, so we can't trade them and give them to distributors. We also have clients who are competing with us. Two is that for now we are able to handle the traffic, so getting a distributor will be a waste of funds. Three, I think the kind of channel what the distributor would love to get is a software, not an individual. And the kind of software we want at the moment is very costly. We want a software where people can apply for the service through an app. That means we have to have machine learning and artificial intelligence. So we are still gathering resources to have it, the future plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
The product is footwear, and our channel is we use the direct channel, which refers to we use the B2C model, that's business to consumer model. For the reason being that why we use the B2C model is simple because it's from the manufacturer to the consumer, and using the middle linkage is when we see it as a risk because these are people who are surrounding us, and we are measuring around the locals within Arua as per the moment. So using an external home distributor, the pipeline would be a wasted resources. We aim at expanding it. We still want to harmonize with the locals. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our business is the museum business. Our artifacts are not movable in one place, so we give direct channel with our customers. And why do we do that? It's because it's we who have the information. We cannot pass it through a third person to pass to somebody who cannot see what is being talked about. Even when this digital migration is moving so fast, when we shall go into the virtual tourism, all the same, it will be direct from us to the customer. And when it comes to rain making, it's direct, because the rain will only fall in your garden, not in the neighbors. And if we do other medium men in the middle there, our secret will leak out.
Thank you. We sell which means we sell physical farmers. And the channels that we use, one is our one-stop farm service center. We directly deal with our farmers and have a one-on-one experience with them. Two, we offer deliveries to NGOs that buy in bulk, take the product directly to them, their offices. And then currently we're also exploring since we are coming up with the Agnet Digital Railway system, we'll be having village digital agents, and this will be acting as our distributor also for things like yourself. We're exploring that. And then another channel we use to also reach our clients. We do radio adverts. And through radio adverts, these people are able to access and learn what to do. And are you going to sell directly to a distributor or direct channels? We do it directly. Why? Because we want to offer customized support according to the specific needs of the farmers. So we cannot afford to get third party in between or not able to offer the service that we can offer directly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sell of agro inputs and animal drugs. The product test is physically, then the channel is direct, because we deliver those products to customers directly. Then if it's training, we go there directly. Why we choose direct channel? One is we don't want too much control by the supplier over us, so that we can be able to make flexible decisions. Then secondly, we want to be able to calculate our loss and profit. Loss and profit is book balances. But when you're doing direct, you will not know how much profit or loss you have made. You'll be the one to know. Then thirdly, we want to do customer delivery and discover our customer segments within the company, not someone doing it for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello once again. Our product is a physical one, because we're doing t-shirts, sweater socks, and hoodies. And the channel that we use is online and direct. From what we have seen so far, we sell more online. Because someone may buy from us and goes on social media, puts on, and then someone says, I want that. We're always looking for people who say, I want that, I want that. So, and we have a shop where people who bump in directly can also get our services. We do directly, not through distributors, because we're still small. And what we do actually distribute them to these other shops which can sell them. But because of the size, our capacity, we're dealing directly
so that we get to know what our customers want. So that if we understand that, yes, the rest is easy.
Thank you. You have some homework again. I want you to continue doing those customer discovery interviews. Especially for those of you who've gotten to 8 to 10 interviews so far. You can go in there and start to maybe change out a couple of the questions if you've gotten enough data from that first 10 or so interviews for your entire original list. We had those questions a little earlier, a few slides ago. Maybe put one or two of those into your next round of customer interviews. Start kind of figuring out what channels customers are using to get their products. You can also start filling out your customer channels box in the business model canvas. So, you all got up here. You told us, what are you selling? Are you selling directly or indirectly? Are you using distributors? Are you selling more directly? You can fill that in on the business model canvas. And then next time, every single person is going to get up and tell us what they've learned. You're going to have at most 3 minutes. So try to compress your information into 3 minutes if you can, because I'm going to set a timer, and when the timer goes off, that's it. You're applauded off the stage. So